I am a busy man. And what can I say? This meeting is being live streamed. Got it. All right, buddy. Let's make sure we are live before we proceed. I think it is going that way. I think we're good. I think we are, in fact, live.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what's up. Yep, we are. So first of all, apologies to anybody that tuned in to watch us a little bit earlier. Stuff happens in life.
My fault, guys. My fault.
Yeah, and it worked out for me because you know what? I had a call from a client and he's like, you need to sell me a house and you need to sell it to me today, and I've got to move in a week and my family's coming here, and it was unbelievable. So hopefully we get some notifications right away here, and hopefully some people get going in the chat. I'm gonna say something. Now, what do you want to talk about, Jody? We got some things that we wanted to talk about, but anything you want to start with in particular?
Let's talk about the latest and greatest. So I was watching your show yesterday when you did a little mini about your update on the injury, and someone mentioned the thing about John and Devin. And my comment was, I personally don't want to see John pull Devin in 7 weeks. I think that's a monumental match that needs to take place later. You want both guys as healthy as possible. Now, I think, in my opinion, that John's taking on these matches to get himself in shape. Chance Shaw, Dimitri, was Coughlin, is that how you say his last name? And the recently with Paul Land. And each time you saw it, it was like, okay. And now I think when you went live yesterday, John was going live at the same time. And I don't know if it was elbow or shoulder issues. I'm thinking, if you're not 100%, are you going to be 100% in 7 weeks? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And it was testing his elbow, and I never did see really anything about how that went. I think he can be healed.
Yeah.
And I think that he needs to supplement properly to get there.
Agreed.
And when I say that, I mean, if John's going to be ready for Devin, he's got to be 100% like tomorrow. So he's got to be doing the peptides. He's got to be doing maybe some other things too.
Other Flintstone vitamins. Yes.
Yeah. He's got to be like fully pancaked and going.
Now, I see a mismatch because here's Devin with all this time off. The last time Devin pulled was what, in the spring?
Yeah.
Granted, he did the boxing thing, which, yeah, it's fine, but it's not arm wrestling, right? And not that Devin hasn't been trained on the table, because he's always putting out videos like every, 45 minutes. But, actual match like he had with Todd, that was the actual match. And how much training was Devin doing before that? Had the match, took time off. Whereas John is like competing like, it seems like once a month. I'm thinking, is it enough time for him to heal? Is it enough rest time? That's all I'm trying to say. And I'm like, for two guys who are monumental in our sport, who just happen to live in North America, that should probably be pushed back, because as soon as John gets done, then he has what? Does he have Zolioff, I think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming up soon. So it's like, granted, John's, match after match after match after match, which is good for everybody else. But at the same time, it's like, to pull Devin, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different mantra. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think they both come in here with a little bit of rust, we'll say.
Yeah.
Devin meaning just that he has, he went from being his biggest of all time to going the complete opposite direction and trying to be the cardio guy for a while when he's training for boxing. And then I don't feel like he is at the point where we're going to see a 300-pound Devin against John. I think he's going to come in maybe 240, 250, be kind of the normal Devin that we saw later years in WAL, which is still an impressive guy.
Right.
And so I don't think he's going to be fully 100% charged up, Devin. And I think John's going to come in with some bumps and bruises too. I mean, you took that old race car and put it right back on the track, and it needs a little bit of maintenance.
It's funny how certain pullers can make you adapt to them.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that for Devin to beat Michael, he had to get big. If Devin came in at 245, 250, he was not going to beat Michael. So that's how good Michael is. Devin had to adapt to that, you know? So another thing, I mean, look at John. He's so good, he made Paul Lynn adapt to him. Paul Lynn doesn't walk around 230. Paul Lynn walks around about 212, maybe, give or take, 210, something like that. But Paul Lynn came in at 230, which means if I'm going to pull John Brzenk, I got to be this weight. That's how good John is. He made his opponent readjust to him. Michael Todd made Devin readjust to him. It's weird how, certain pullers can make you do that, make you adapt.
Got some comments here, Jody. We got White Wolf. What's up, Ryan and Jody? Carolyn says, great idea. Chocolate Thunder. Great team up, guys. Jody has an awesome and interesting way of speaking. And White Wolf chimes back in and he says, disagree with Jody. Sorry, Chocolate Thunder, but John's been doing this for a long time and should know what he's up to. Pancake City is likely going on. And then Carolyn says, Jody, I agree. Boxing time off for Devin is a huge factor and a plus for John. All things like they both got some dents, man. They both got it on both sides. I think that it's a match for the ages. And Devin posted something on Instagram recently where it was showing the matches with John over the years. So a lot of people think this is like the third match. It's more like the 10th. Yeah. I think that John is probably got the edge on him and wins. And John has most recently won when they pulled in World Arm Wrestling League.
Yes. I understand where White Wolf is coming from. I'm not saying my theory is correct. But I will say this, though. When John's talking, sure, I pulled Devin. Then boom, there's a match. But he also said I pulled Todd Hutchins also. So I don't know if everybody caught that, but he also said, oh, yeah, I would love to pull Todd, So he's just saying that. And maybe he's talking out loud. It's just when they said something about Devin, then all of a sudden, let's make that match happen. That's all I'm saying,
Yeah. White Wolf says, and this is something
said about it. I mean, he did say, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, he was talking about, I mentioned this on the show yesterday. He said, John's a freak of nature. I agree. So when Devin announced yesterday that it was a shutout stakes, I was instantly on Stake Kings and putting money down on John. Sorry, Dev, but money talks, man. I agree with that it is highly unlikely that this is a shutout.
No, it won't be a shutout.
So if John wins, I think he wins early. If Devin wins, he drags John into deep water like he did in their, I think, 2006 match.
There's something to be said. You mentioned yesterday when I want to say you had mentioned how Devin may test John's hand, because even John will tell you, his hand is as big, that's his motivator. And if Devin wants to test it just to see where he's at, that's where he's going to lose the match.
Yeah. And messing around with a shutout stake, that's where that's kind of a weird thing for me. The shutout stake is odd because historically, if they're doing a 6-round super match, there's been many, many occasions where somebody has won 4 matches and then kind of given away the last 2. Almost like a courtesy to the opponent. I've seen that happen so many times. I've also seen that not so much giving it away, but going into where their opponent is strong to test themselves out and dropping a match. So this kind of takes away from that a little bit, because now, is Devin really going to test John's hand if he's up that many matches in a shutout stake? Because that, in a way, is kind of screwing over the people that bet on him to win.
Well, take this for example. When the king of the table won, right? You got Devin and Michael. And I don't know if the Stake Kings was a shutout with that scenario, but as soon as round 3 was over, or match 3, I should say, with Michael, it was over, because Michael tried everything to the point where he tried his famous, I'm going to grip up here and quick shoulder press. When Devin kind of stopped it right there, I knew it was over. Michael knew it was over. And to the point where, hey, for shits and giggles, let's do match number 6 left-handed, which I didn't know what the hell that was about, but that's how you know it was over. I don't foresee this happening in this time around, you know. I've seen John like has his opponent hit him and he's just gonna come back, drain him out, and then all of a sudden he'll do this, or he'll sit there and get into a hook and just kind of wear it out, and then he'll take him over. However, those opponents he's doing that with are not the caliber of Devin Larratt. So he may have a different game plan.
Right. Like dragging Chance Shaw into deep waters is not the same thing as dragging Devin Larratt into there.
Exactly.
Devin's going to swim out there with you.
It was almost like John let those guys, you do what you want to do. I'll see if I can catch your hit. It was weird. You know how like it was almost like when Michael Todd went on his cross-country trip with his wife, Rebecca. And I remember they came to Oregon and I drove up 3 hours, and we're in the park a lot. Michael sat there and told everybody, hey, I'm going to have you, you're going to hit, I'll try to catch you, and then you do what you want. I'll try to bring you back over. It seemed like John was doing that with those gentlemen he just had those matches with.
Yeah, and Paul Lynn hit him violently. Like he hit him, I think, harder than I've ever seen Paul Lynn hit.
Oh, yeah.
Which is probably why his elbow's a little messed up right now.
There's a fine line between hitting violently and then hitting violently with control. Because I've seen people just take off, but then they're sloppy. And that's where injuries come from. Not saying that Paul was sloppy. It just seemed like when people normally do that, they're just thinking, okay, I'm going to hit so hard. And, you know, like for me, my match with Roger Lerner this past weekend, I'm not a proponent of, you know, same thing over just hit harder. I really don't like that. I hit hard, but also trying to hit with control. But there are times where I hit hard and I got caught in position. I overhit, if that makes sense. You know, if you overhit, then your body goes, and all of a sudden your hand is still right here. Now I'm in a bad spot, and they haven't gone yet. And when they do go, now I'm over here trying to hold that over. So, not a real fan of, you know, same thing, just only harder. You know.
Yeah. Joe the Hammer Valentine says he's tuning in later to watch. He's got to go and got to go train. Good excuse, Joe. I accept that. Preacher Arm Wrestling's in here. Guy Allen, Church of Arm Wrestling, Jimmy G's in here. Says John Brzenk had a different look in his eye this weekend. Interesting.
John is a thinker. You know, he's not gonna get on his YouTube and talk trash. You know, he just, you know, John, what do you think about kicking Devin's ass? Oh, you know, I think I'll be okay. I got a few things to dissect. Or Devins has this slow, deep, thought out process where it's almost like he's a murderer. You know, I love you, John, but I'm gonna rip your arm off. I'm gonna kill you. That's how that's a perfect heel, and John's the baby face going into this match.
Absolutely.
That's what I take from this, you know.
Yeah. I don't want to see John turn heel on us.
Can you imagine? Good Lord. I mean, that's I think you need heels in the sport to make things go. Because for all these years, Travis was a heel, you know, because he rubbed people the wrong way. And then at one point, I think Michael Todd was a heel. I think Wall would try to make Devin a heel with his little shenanigans with Bart Wood and stuff. But I think to make this thing work, you got to have a heel. You know, like I'm a big fan of the Avengers. Without Thanos, Avengers is not a good movie. You have to have a dominant heel to make the guys go, okay, now the baby face gets knocked down. You got to come back and stuff. You got to have that heel, you know? So if it's Pacquiao and Mayweather, then, you know, depending on what side of the fence you are, Mayweather was the heel, you know? So, you know, it's just one of those things, you know? Ryan Bowen, a lot of people don't like him. So he can be considered as a heel, and we'll get to him in a sec with him and Lachlan Adair. I got some thoughts on that too. But yeah, I think you need your basic heel and baby face because that's what makes matches, right? So besides styles.
Until John turns and all of a sudden he's Hulk Hogan turning heel.
Now he's wearing all black and you know, he's like, he let his beard grow out. He's dyeing his beard. It's like, bandana, here we go. here's the evil John, you know.
Yeah, don't think we're gonna see it, but it'll be fun.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, in Dubai, who knows?
Do we know any more matches on that card, by the way?
Oh man. Larry versus why can't I remember that guy's name?
I forgot his
The
name
Vegas
too, but
guy.
yeah, I think Larry needs this. You know, I mean,
I don't think Larry can win that match.
you don't think so?
No, I
I'm
don't.
not sure who he's training with now, but I would love to see him and see what's his progression because his last match, it seemed like he was just lost against Schoolboy, you know.
Well, I mean, he was against a guy with a dominant hand. I don't know. I don't know, man. He just got controlled by a much better arm wrestler.
Yeah, and I wonder that, you know, hey, if you're going to take this sport seriously, you know, we know you got the strength, shoulders, arms, you know, chest, what have you, but you know, if you can't actually arm wrestle, then it doesn't really matter, you know. So that's just me thinking out loud, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm searching for the name of that guy pulling Larry, man. It's bothering me. And I talked to the guy, but lately I've been terrible with him. Is it Brandon Allen that's pulling him?
Maybe out of California.
Yeah.
Yeah. And California is all of a sudden blown ever since that key in California. You got Brandon Allen pulling them. You got Tony Thomas is pulling Cody Merritt next month, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think I think that one's gonna be, for me, it's a little bit anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I think Cody's gonna take that one fairly easily.
I just saw Cody this past weekend in Kansas City. He was just dominant as ever. It's almost like, all right, Cody shows up. Who's all taking second? That's pretty much how the, you know, place was like, you know.
There's only one match left for Cody in North America as long as Devin stays retired with the left arm, and you know who that is.
That'd be the guy I'm talking to right now.
Yeah, the one guy that's never lost to Cody. Well, that's not true. I lost once. I lost on fouls.
Or should you say the one guy that's never been pinned?
The one guy that's never been pinned by Cody, yep.
Because there's a difference between not losing and not taking the pin. There's a distinct difference, you know. So
yeah. So, and it's going to be a drive, not a flight. That's the goal. So in March, that match is happening. And I'm looking at the poster for the Core Sports thing, and really I only see Larry versus Brandon, and then I see Devin and John. So I don't know who else is going to get booked on that card. I know that the November 13th card looks pretty interesting, but that's the Tony Tomlinson one.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost got booked on that because I'm in Vegas up till the day before that match.
Oh, nice.
And they wanted me to pull against possibly against Spotto. I offered, but then they offered me another match. I offered up Spotto because I know who he was originally booked to pull.
Right.
And I know that person backed out, and then Mike Aiello got booked, so I was too late. And in hindsight, you know, I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. And then they tried to put me in there with well, they tried to book me a left-handed match, we'll say that. But we're gonna continue on, and that's that.
Okay, so continuing on, what were your thoughts about Lachlan Adair and Ryan Bowen?
I appreciated the level of technical prowess that Ryan Bowen showed.
Right.
The strategy that he had was sound. He was just outgunned. Like he was changing it up. He was giving him different looks. He had a clear strategy of trying to wear Lachlan out. Right. Everything from messing around, how he was setting himself up, to not waiting for the rest period to be over between rounds, just coming right back to the table. I think he did everything he could possibly do to try and win that match. He was just way outpowered.
Yeah. What I saw was somebody, like you say, who was outgunned. I knew he wasn't going to go toe-to-toe with him power-wise. I thought he would have played the mind games first and then try to manipulate, with the style, with his technique to kind of catch him off guard. What I saw, and I could be wrong, but it seemed like after the first 2 rounds, Ryan was just trying to get the match over with. Normally, especially in a 6-round match, no matter what, or in a super match, call it what you want, usually your opponent has a corner man or somebody in your corner in between matches doing a rub down, or, hey, maybe try this instead, because usually somebody watching your match probably sees something you don't see while you're in the match. And I saw none of that. And maybe for me, I saw it wrong, but it seemed like after the first 2 matches, Ryan was just trying to get the match over with because he knew in his mind, there's no way I can do anything with this guy. That's what I saw.
You may be right. I think match 3, he was still attacking different angles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, only Ryan really knows the truth to that, but you might be right. There was definitely a gap in the power. Got a couple of questions here before we get back on that subject. Church arm wrestling, how's the injury? Well, I was doing like a wrist curl today with 25 pounds on my right arm, like on a cable. So, I mean,
it's something.
Yeah, it's something. It's coming. It's going to be a glorious comeback, but it's going to take a while. So it is what it is. No surgery. And then, where's that going to be again, Ryan? The match with Cody, that's going to be in Kansas City in March. Preacher arm wrestling, we really need to see where Lachlan's strength is right now.
That's March 5th, by the way.
March the 5th. So there is an issue with seeing where Lachlan is right now because they are unable to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You think the restrictions in the United States and Canada are bad? The Australia is way worse.
But they can leave though, right?
They can leave, but it's like a mandatory quarantine when they get back. So it's not like Canada where I can still go down to Texas like I did a couple months ago. I'm going to Vegas in November where I can just take a PCR test while I'm there and I'm okay to come home and I can do whatever. They have a mandatory quarantine period.
Do we know how long it is?
I think it's a full 2 weeks and it's like a couple $1,000 that they charge you to do that. Like they put you in not a hotel of your choosing. It's kind of a quarantine facility.
Which brings me to my next point. And I don't want to let any kind of cat out of the bag, but I was talking to someone over the weekend, and the one reason why I wanted Bowen to win this match is because the mishap or the disagreements, we'll just call it disagreements, with one Ryan Bowen and one RVJ. Okay. Yeah. And it seems like RVJ gets a little butthurt or whatever. He might have been salty, whatever. I don't know. He might have been not. It just seemed like you were there, Ryan. You could probably explain this more than anybody. In the arm wars, he was just not himself. We'll say it that way. He was not himself. And it looked like he was just exhaustedly tired in the face before he even got up on there to compete. And it could have been a jet lag. It could have been, just making the trip over there. And he lost 6-0. Cool. Bowen said something, and all of a sudden RVJ kind of lost a screw, this, that, and the other. And I saw, the rant that RVJ had. I was hoping that if Bowen would have won, then you would have to make that match happen. Now, from what I heard, there was a situation where, hey, Bowen can make this trip over to the States, have this match with RVJ, and RVJ declined.
I think it's out of a matter of I don't think RVJ respects Ryan Bowen enough to give him a match. And I don't think it has anything to do with a fear of losing. I think it's just, this guy doesn't deserve the shot. Like, who
I
gets the
mean,
shot
that's
at
the
the
case.
champ? I mean, RVJ is still the champ.
Right.
Who gets a shot at the champ, even though he lost? Who gets a shot at that right after taking a loss?
Well, where does RVJ go? First of all, man, if Bowen is not, because Bowen can sit there and go, okay, I got my ass kicked by Adair, but you got your ass kicked by Sasha. So where do we stand at now? Because technically, the last time both these guys pulled, they lost 6-0, both of them.
Yep.
So
Yep.
nothing has to happen. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure when it will happen. I don't know if it will happen, but you got to wonder and think that maybe you just need to do it just to shut him up or shut the naysayers up or whatever the case may be. But I understand from that standpoint where RVJ is coming from, because there's somebody I know out there that I don't respect recently as a puller, and we've had our little clashes, and it's more like, okay, I know I'm better than you, but I get it. So it's weird because those guys, and now with Ryan Bowen's YouTube blowing up, and I know he's doing everything possible to keep it going because he cannot leave the country. I mean, he can, but we all know once he comes back, he's down for the count for at least 2 weeks. So I just think it's a match that needs to happen. But if it doesn't happen, then who does RVJ pull next?
Well, RVJ's got a long list of guys that are knocking on the door. I mean, he also is a guy that feels pretty strongly about performance enhancement. And
Yes.
Ryan kind of alluded to that. Well, he came right out and started talking about it and then backed off of that a little bit. I know that Ryan Bowen's path is pretty clear. You want a match with RVJ, go and beat Sasho.
Well, okay, but that goes back. If Ryan, if I gotta go beat Sasha, RVJ couldn't beat Sasha. So now where we at? So it's one of those deals.
It's almost like, let's say Cody Merritt gets a match with Alex Kurdecha.
Okay.
And Cody beats him. In my mind, there's an opportunity when I pull Cody not only beat Cody, but to avenge my loss to the other guy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
And if RVJ's, I think his biggest argument, or the reason he is kind of on talking about, well, he doesn't want Ryan to get the match because he doesn't respect him, doesn't feel like he deserves a shot.
Right.
Well, how can you say that he doesn't deserve the shot if he just beat the guy that beat you? Then all of a sudden that is gone. Like, that illusion is gone. You can't say he doesn't deserve it. You can't say he's, not on that level, because clearly he would be.
Maybe, and I assure you, if for some odd reason, if I'm Neil Pickup, I'd make that shit happen where, and what happens if, these big matches happen in the States now? Because we seem like people from North America are always traveling over there. We have to deal with all the flight issues and sharing rooms with like 9 other people and stuff. And you can't get comfortable for a big event. And it's always screwing us. And I remember I had Todd Hutchins on my show a few weeks ago. And I asked him, why do you think we, the West, is struggling? Because Jeff Hell didn't win. Matt Mass didn't win, right? RVJ didn't win. Uncle John won his right-handed match, but the one he was promoting didn't win, right? So it makes you wonder, like, well, what's going on over here? Like, what are we not doing right that they are doing right? Is it the travel? Because all those matches I just mentioned, we all had to go over there. We had to cross the pond. When are they going to return the favor, come here? Now we get the home cooking, and let them deal with all that stuff. That's my question.
I agree.
We
have a few comments on this very subject. Ali Hamadia is on there. I disagree. I think RVJ is scared of losing to him. If not, he would whoop him and shut him up. 2 problems with that. Number one problem really. Ryan has made it very clear that no matter how many times he gets beat, he's not going to shut up. So,
True.
and I like Ryan a lot, but he's going to be right back, and he's going to shave his face and look different and come back for it's just going to be building towards the next thing.
Yeah. He loses against RVJ, he's going to buzz cut his hair. I mean, it's just, start different,
Yeah. Carolyn's in here, says, no, I disagree. For someone annoying like Bowen, why would you want to be in the same room as them, no matter how much you'd get to compete with them? That's good. Timmy Turner says some seriously dumb comments here. RVJ already accepted a drug tested match with Ryan. Why would he be scared? In fact, it was Ryan who pulled out of the match. Well, clearly that is off the table now. The drug tested match.
And again, like I said earlier in the show, certain people will make you adapt to them. Look how big Lachlan is. Where was Ryan Bowen? I think he weighed 230, didn't he?
So, yeah, he was big.
Again, here we are. I thought the whole thing was a sham to be in the early stage. I thought it was just like, oh, okay, they're just because they train together. So I thought, this is weird. That's like pulling your training partner, and you got this big buildup. That's like stupid, But I guess it's something that had to be had.
It worked. I watched.
Yeah, it did work, but it just seemed like it was just like, really, dude? Like, even a bulked up 230 Ryan Bowen was nothing, not even the same stratosphere as Lachlan. So now you got to go, okay, 2 questions. Number 1, where is Bowen really at? And then number 2, where does that put Lachlan? Do you does that match against Ryan hold any water?
Yeah.
You're so dominant and big. Okay, you should have beat him. So what's changed,
And can Ryan beat Meadow Orangi, or can he beat Ben Carroll? Can he beat him? Because to me, there's still a question on who the number 1 in Australia is.
Right.
I know they say, Meta's from New Zealand or whatever, but yeah, so Ben Carroll's really the guy that they need to sort that out with. I think Lachlan beats him. I don't know if Ryan can.
Right.
Preacher says at this point, getting RVJ and Ryan to go against each other would be a big money match and really good advertising and lots of betting on armband. Agreed. Yes. That'd be a great co-main event or even undercard match for the Dubai event.
Yeah.
I mean, with Ryan just saying it and RVJ saying no is one thing. If a promoter shows up and says, here's an offer, do you want it? That's a different story. And I'm not sure that's happened yet.
You don't want to pass up an opportunity like that because you may not get another one anytime soon, right? So, if you built yourself up to be on this upper echelon, and you've earned it, RVJ has earned it. But prior to Sasha, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, I don't believe RVJ has pulled a meaningful match since his last wall event. I think he pulled Chuck Ryder for $1,000 in a parking lot of Costco or some shit, and everybody wore a mask. Other than that, he hasn't pulled a meaningful match prior to Sasha.
Hey, just so you know, the 3rd best left-handed super heavyweight arm wrestler in North America has just joined the chats.
The 3rd best.
The 3rd best. He's dropped a 3rd. He says, what's up, fellas? One of you is looking very handsome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Cody. Oh, man.
And here's the thing. I'm Cody Merritt. Well, I'm not. But if I'm Cody Merritt, I know I have you March 5th. But does Travis say, okay, I'm done now, or what? Is it one of those deals? Because rumor I heard when Travis saw Cody pull at the Olympia, and Travis was like, yeah, I don't want none of that. I don't know if that's just Travis being Travis, because we all know one thing about Travis. He likes to keep everybody guessing. So the spring match between Cody and Travis, I don't know. Does that mean Travis gets the winner of you two, or what? How does that work out?
Well, I was hoping that Cody would go ahead and beat all these other guys so that I wouldn't have to, and then I just have to beat Cody, and I kind of beat them all.
Because I'm
That was
telling
my
you,
strategy.
right. Because I mean, at some point, and here's the thing. The reason why I love Cody on this show, I love you on the show, because I'm a southpaw puller. And it's bad enough that, we don't get the recognition, especially the Olympia payout. And that's a whole different story. But still, you have all these dominant left-handers that don't get the limelight that they should and they deserve. So I'm thinking, heck, March 5th, you got the rematch from the 2019 WAF World Championships. Is that what it is?
Is it 19 or
Was it 2019?
when did COVID start? Was that 2020?
Oh no, wait. I think it was 2018 because
2018 Worlds, yeah.
yeah.
And then Cody won in 19.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
a rematch of the 2018. I mean, this is, you talk about a buildup in itself right there, barring ducking and dodging the pandemic, So
yeah. Steven, are you asking about me or are you asking about Ryan Bowen? Do you think Ryan can pin Marcio? I think you mean Bowen. No, not right now. Marcio versus Lachlan would be a great match. And it would show us exactly where he's at.
If Marcio ain't careful, I wouldn't overlook that, because he has Wayne Withers coming up, and that's the same day, December 11th, I want to say. And
that's a crazy match. Like we'll find out, because I know Marcio knows how to deal with a big top roller like that.
Yeah.
Can Wayne deal with somebody like Marcio? That's the question.
If it comes to like any kind of press, Marcio fast hit. If he goes into Wayne's hand, he may struggle, because Marcio doesn't have the biggest hand. I felt when Wayne has a solid wrist and hand. If Marcio goes into that, his hand, Marcial's going to struggle. But if he stays out of it, then Marcio can, hit those angles, and I think he can do some damage because he has that long arm. Not saying that Marcio can't do anything with that, but it's one of those deals, because if you look at what wall was that where he pulled Matt Mask, he struggled. Matt Mask, long arm. And Marcio did get a win on him in the strap, but long arm, he struggled, And when Matt hits so hard and violently, like we talked about, when people hit violently, if you don't have the hand to stop that, it's going to not be a good day for you. I'm not saying Wayne's going to have that massive Matt Mask style hit, but, if he happens to go that way, and, you can feel if someone has a smaller hand to you, you can feel you can open, there's a lane there. If Wayne can find it, if he can find it, he has a good chance.
Yeah. Well, buddy, what else do you want to cover before we jump off of here?
Let's see here. Who is Michael Todd pulling? Gennady?
Gennady, yeah.
Because see, now Michael Todd, once that was announced, he's back to training. He's getting serious. And I think, knowing Michael the way I know him, that match with Devin left a bad taste in his mouth. Okay. And he really wants to avenge that. So I feel sorry for Gennady. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. I feel sorry for him.
There's a lot of things in that match, and I can't talk about it, but there's a lot of things in that match that people don't know about. And Michael was definitely not himself. So let's leave it at that. But yeah. Michael will come back, and we need to get this stuff sorted out. And I think it almost needs to happen on North American soil to, stop some of the weirdness that can be brought into things. Hey, Ryan, what's it like pulling Marcio? He's explosive and powerful. It's been a long time since I pulled him. A long time.
Yeah, I mean, violent puller. I never pulled him, but very, very violent puller. So
the real question is, who has the better beard? That depends. I'm kind of Michael's got like the long Duck Dynasty type, and then Gennady's kind of got like the more mountain man kind of groomed
Yeah.
I don't know.
But if you notice, Michael Todd, he'll do this. And if you know some of his matches, he'll throw like a little rubber band in there, like a ponytail type deal. He will do that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody notices that, but he will do that from time to time.
Yeah.
So
I'm done playing the beard game, Jody. I did okay for a while.
I can't grow a long one to save my life. I'm just not a hairy person. So I'm just stubble. So
Here's the question. Maybe we cover this again on another episode, but we also are talking, we got to ask White Wolf says, who do we have in the Spotto Aiello match?
I don't know. When was the last time Spotto pulled?
Spotto, has he pulled a match, or has he just pulled lots of really high profile practice matches?
That's fine, but you can pull a lot of, it's like, I don't want it to sound kind of weird, but it's like Larry Wheels. Like, you're a big guy. You've had training sessions with Derek Smith and, Michael Todd and Devin Larratt. But when it comes down to it, there's that table time atmosphere that you don't have. You don't have it. You don't have it. That table time IQ, on the day of a tournament, we all know as pullers, we are different from practice to tournament up here, right?
However, let's be honest. Mike Aiello is not going to whip out some crazy technique on him. He kind of has a lane that he's going to go into. And I think Spotto has him in power, like considerably.
He's going to have
I watched Chance Shaw, like they're doing some after pulling, putting Aiello in a hook and toying around with him. Like it was.
Yes.
Chance doesn't really hook anybody in an event.
Yeah. And to see that, I was like, oh, damn, okay,
So either Chance has gotten like incredibly stronger over the past little while, or maybe Aiello is just, I don't know.
Well, if you just saw it at that Brzenk Paulin tournament after pulling, I mean, he's over there with Dave Morocco and he's trying to hit same Mike Aiello coming in like this, and Dave is just going like this, and
I did see that.
And surgeon, it's like going, okay, so like that's one of those instances where you got to go, okay, some way somehow you better have another pitch in your arsenal.
Yeah, and it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So I think I have to predict that it's probably Spotto. And happy to see him in a big high profile match.
Yeah, just to see what he really can do. When you have all these powered, lifters and all that kind of stuff from different sports, make the crossover to arm wrestling, you like to know, we know you got the power, but can you use that power is what the question is. Now, I don't mean just caveman, you got to really know your table IQ. You got to find lanes, you got to find weaknesses. And once you do that, can you exploit it? Because if you can't, then it's like, okay, they're going to hold you at bay. They're going to wear you out. So, my opinion.
No, I agree with you. And Aiello, Preacher Arm Wrestling says it. Aiello will be hitting right into Spotto's strong spot. If I were Aiello, I would be developing a different angle right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, is that if he were to start today, October 29th, Friday, then is that going to be enough where it connects by the time that match comes up is the question.
Maybe not. But he's known about this match for a while.
We're going to have to see.
Yeah, he's going to go one direction, and it could be right into a bad spot.
Yeah, got to make adjustments, people. Got to make adjustments.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Let's should we wrap her up for the day? I know you got another show coming up.
Yeah, I got Derek Smith on my show at noon.
So that's in what, 15 minutes?
Well, West Coast time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Thanks for coming on, and maybe we'll make this a regular thing.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I like the sound of that. So because I think the next time, if you have me on, one of your partners in crime, Jeff Frank, I have a match with him coming up. So we can rap about that too.
Yeah, we should talk about that. We'll talk about that next time, and that's coming up.
Yes, sir. In about 6 weeks, I believe. Yeah.
Right on.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for the support, and we'll see you guys next time.
Appreciate that. You guys take care.